The body of research on nuclear exclusion zone organisms and ecosystems point in some to neither a restoration, nor to a diminishing of the wild, but to a mutant ecology. Space and time are radically reconfigured in these special zones, constituting a vision of a collective future that is incrementally changing in unknown ways through cumulative nuclear effects with a long history. The first experiments of this mutant ecology took place during the 1950s and continued into the 21st century. They were conducted on the workers, lumpants, fauna, and nature of the U.S.-Mexico border by the U.S. military. In his work on molecular aspects of adaptation to life in post-nuclear zones, the anthropologist Loman Toscano traces the origins of these experiments. He writes, "Beginning in the Cold War, the U.S. military conducted nuclear tests for a biomedical experiment that explicitly sought to research the effects of the bomb by methodically applying its force to plants, animals, and ultimately, people. Pigs, dogs, sheep, cows, monkeys, and mice were used to test the effects of radiation on different species, utilizing skin, lungs, eyes, blood, and genetic material as a test of how radiation exposure traumatizes a biological being in the millisecond of an atomic blast and over longer periods of time as the effects of radiation exposure occur. In a variety of ways, most citizens were also part of this experimental regime, exponentially expanding the frame of the nuclear experiment from the confines of the U.S.-Mexico border to the world. As the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the National Cancer Institute document tell us, all organs and tissues of the body have received some radiation exposure. Life within the zone's nuclear ecology is not simply a political or imaginative project. It is a long history of nuclear experimentation and transmutations. Before the explosion, factory workers in Reynosa and a plethora of border cities were being monitored for radiation exposures on the job. They were also participating in the radiation experiments delineated by Toscano. He concludes his research on molecular changes in post-nuclear worlds with the following reflection. Nuclear special zones have reinvented the biosphere as a nuclear space, transformed entire populations of plants, animals, insects, and people into environmental sentinels, and embedded the logics of mutation with both ecologies and cosmologies. The entire biosphere of this region of the borderlands has been transformed into an experimental zone, one in which we could potentially ultimately all live, producing new unknown mutations in both natural and social orders which have yet to be researched. Instead, politicians and the bosses continue to insist that everything is in order.
Je demeurais sans voix, comme un homme qui rêve son malheur, et qui tout en rêvant espère rêver, si bien qu'il souhaite les choses qui est, comme si elle